Welcome to Urban Access Entertainment right here on UBC TV. This is Tim Moss, and we are coming from Midtown Manhattan here in New York City at the Davenport Theater. Yay! And I am here with the cast of Operation Crucible. I'm going to turn my back and I will hand it over to these fine gentlemen here. Firstly, each one of you give your name then.
I'm Sal.
James.
KIERAN.
And Chris.
And Chris. Okay. Well, gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to New York. How exciting. You guys, you had quite an adventure getting here, right?
Yeah. We had a bit of visa trouble on the way over, mainly because of Sal, but it all got straightened out, and we're here now, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. And welcome to America, and welcome to opening night. It's actually opening night of Operation Crucible in New York City.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Pretty exciting,
Yeah, it's very good.
I feel like I'm going to talk a lot.
Yes, I have a feeling you are too. Well, and one of the reasons being that this was written by KIERAN Knowles, this gentleman right here.
Hello. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Let me just go around and kind of get to know each one of you a little bit. So we'll start with the shyest one, with Sal. Sal D'Aquila?
D'Aquila, yeah.
So where are you from?
I'm from Sheffield.
Oh, you are? You're from Sheffield?
where the play is set.
Yes.
So,
Oh, my goodness. So had you heard stories about this growing up in Sheffield?
I didn't actually. I mean, we got together and we kind of like wanted to do a play. And we kind of like went off and did like little, some research and stuff. And it was the first time I've ever come across this story. But, they probably did teach me at school, but it just went probably through one ear and out the other.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Or you weren't there that day.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, my good. So James Wallwork, correct?
Yeah, not a lot of people get that right. But, yeah.
So where are you from?
Bolton, which is sort of Greater Manchester, but I live in London. So
okay.
Been here, a long time.
My God, I haven't been to London in years. I love London.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I've been there 12 years now. 12 years a slave.
So now you're an actor there, full-time actor?
Yeah.
And you do theater, or do you do television, film?
Yeah, film, TV. Yeah, we all do a bit of voiceover work
great.
and
Whatever it can get.
Whoever's going to employ me, I'll do it. Yeah.
That's the way with most of us artists. Yeah.
He has no morals.
Okay, and now KIERAN Knowles.
Right.
Now you wrote this. When did? Firstly, where are you from?
I'm from Manchester, very, very near to. In fact, really near to Jamie. I come from about 4 miles away from Bolton, say. But yeah, and I'm down in Hertfordshire now, which is just outside of London. But again, I moved south because of acting.
Yes. Now, did you two know each other growing up?
No. So Jamie, Sal, and I went to the same drama school. We were in the same. So Sal and I were in the same year, and Jamie was the year above. And Chris, we've just found him along the way.
Me on the street.
Just walking down the street one day.
I'm very grateful, yeah, very grateful.
So Chris McCURRY, now where are you from?
I am from Northern Ireland. I'm from Belfast. I'm from a place outside Belfast called Newton Abbey, but for all intents and purposes, it's Belfast. Yeah. But I live in London now, same as Jamie, so I've been back in London for a while. Okay,
now, being an American, the difference between Northern Ireland and England, as far as like growing up or the society, what is there a big difference or?
This is tricky. Well, there's differences. London, I've only ever lived in London in England, and of course there's going to be a difference because London's massive.
Yeah, right.
And it's such a big cultural and economic hub. But no, I still love going back to Northern Ireland every now and again, seeing my ma and seeing my friends and stuff. So they're both sort of my home, but they both offer me different things.
Yeah. Because see, again, I was mentioning earlier, I'm from the Midwest originally, completely different culture. I mean, of course, monetary system the same and all of that, but yet nothing like New York City, not even close.
No, that's the same sort of thing. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the homeliness of Northern Ireland and the big mad vastness of London and of New York here, actually, as well. So, yeah. I should run for office, really.
Yes, right. Mayor of Belfast.
Yeah, absolutely, one day.
Well, once again, we're at the Davenport Theater, and it is opening night of the show Operation Crucible, which KIERAN wrote, and it is directed by Brian E. Shanahan and produced by Steve McGill, who I had the opportunity to interview the other day, and it was wonderful. I had a great time with them. So, KIERAN, let's start with you and the show. Where did you hear about the story, and that kind of spurred your interest?
So along with two of the lads, Sal and I decided that we wanted to create a play because we were out of work actors and we wanted to be in work actors. And so we went and had a pint and we started talking about what we could do. And the three of us were northern, which means that we speak with a sort of more affected accent than you would be used to on Downton Abbey. And so we kind of went away and researched it and found a story about Sheffield in the war. So we wanted to kind of tell a story about when working class was a badge of honour. So like blue collar, your blue collar equivalent of just going like it was okay to want to be what your dad does and to kind of aspire to do that. And that so in 1940s in Sheffield, the steelworks was just it employed most of the town, and they prided themselves on it. It was world famous. It was basically what they all lived to do. And it also coincided with the war, and so the war effort and steel go hand in hand. Absolutely. And so it became this pivotal place in the war effort. And then we found the story of the Marples Hotel, which is it was the single biggest loss of life in Sheffield on the night of the Blitz.
Wow.
It was 70 people lost their life in this hotel, and they took people took shelter in there, and we. And so we decided that the two of those things, the kind of working class pride versus the war effort versus this incredible tragedy, was kind of fertile ground to write a play about. So that's
absolutely. So this was it was known as a steel town. Like they provided the steel for much of England, and I would
and still is. I think they still have massive links to steel there. I mean, it's sort of slowly but surely gone offshore and gone to other countries, but I think still at the heart of it, I think that it's still called the Steel City. There's still a kind of a massive pride. It's a massive identity for Sheffield, but back then it was the world leader. It was the place to get stainless steel, and it's where they invented the crucible, which is why the Germans used the code name Operation Crucible for bombing that.
Now explain crucible, because I think cross.
No, it's. I mean, I'm gonna get this really wrong, but it's part of the. It's to get rid of the impurities in steel. They heated it in a different way, and it involved heating it in a large crucible bowl. I think that might be completely wrong, but that's my understanding of it. And
So Sheffield was the steel capital, and then you add the element of a world war. This was World War II, correct?
Right. Yeah.
And of course, then there's a lot of machinery and planes and ships and all kinds of things that would need to be. So Sheffield would be, in a way, a main target of the Germans at that time.
And all those things that you have, all the sounds, all the different parts, and we've decided to do a play with no props at all, really, apart from 4 stools. So it's our job every night to kind of create that in the audience's heads without anything literal to do it. And
to actually experience what happened. And so when did you write this? When did it first go on paper?
So it was a kind of process over, because you'll know, about 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
it was
2012, I think.
I think the first meeting we had was in 2012, and that was just a drunken night.
But just as you say, over some pints.
Exactly.
It was basically just an excuse to drink for a bit.
And then it turned into a play. It was
an excuse to drink that went horribly wrong. Ended with a lot of work and responsibility. It's just like, God.
But it slowly got more and more legitimate as we've gone along. But 2013, I think, was it first opened in December 2013. So we're coming up to the 5th anniversary. But but that was in a new writing slot in a very kind of well-established but small theatre in West London. And we only did three nights a week for 4 weeks.
Wow.
And then we went on a kind of 9-date UK little tour thing, which was, again, it was about a shoddy. And then we just got lucky. We got invited back to the same theatre. It was called the Finborough Theatre, and we got back there for a main slot in August, and all the reviewers came, and that sort of kicked it all up the arse.
Wow.
And here
Ben
we are.
Brantley was there as well,
So Ben
which was
Brantley's-
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was extremely lucky, really.
Yeah, we do now. We know who he is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but yeah, and so it sort of steamrolled from there really, and we went back to Sheffield in 2016.
Yeah, and you actually performed it there?
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, it was just great. You know what I mean? Like it's my home city, and I've always wanted to perform there. So, bringing a play about Sheffield to the Sheffield Crucible, it was just, it was a bit of overwhelming.
I
guess.
would imagine.
But
And even the city itself, their response to that.
yeah, they loved it.
I imagine.
Everyone and the little jokes, they got it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
okay.
hear? But over here, you don't get that. You don't get that because they know the humour as well.
Right.
Yeah. So over here it becomes like a much sort of darker play, where over there it was this very light, happy thing, which is really interesting because you could they could both learn from each other really, because in Sheffield you'd get laughs at things that you're like, oh, I'm not sure that's a laugh, but over here, I think because they hear the word war, they think it's going to be this very kind of dark, and actually there's quite a lot of light in there, and there's quite a lot of. But we've performed in New York more now than we have performed in any other city, and so that's testament to the audiences here and to the people here, that they are able to kind of empathise with this small town story from England, and that they're kind of getting the same as all of the audiences we've had in England, but where this is their history and this is their culture. Over here, you guys just embrace it and kind of come with us. And it's a really you're a really giving and generous audience. It's really lovely to be here.
Well, we love good art is the thing, and good art from all around the world.
Yeah.
So Sal, can you tell us a little about your character?
Well, as you can see, I'm the alpha male, strong.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The dominant.
Yeah. No, I'm Bob, and he's the young apprentice.
Okay.
And
Young-ish apprentice.
youngish, yeah. I'm actually, I'm the
He
oldest.
was when he started.
Yeah, I'll be doing this play when I'm 80. Do you know what I mean? No, I don't know. But yeah, so I play the apprentice. He's a bit of an idiot, a bit of a clown. But he's got a great journey, and he does actually become a man at the end of it. But yeah, I think
that's interesting. Now, all of the characters work together. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We all work in the steel mill, and we sort of do the more specialised little things. So we're very skilled, and we're hammering out little bits and pieces that go on the massive bits of steel to make things for the war effort. Yeah. Yep.
So also those have to be very precise too.
Well, there's a lot of work and a lot of sort of choreographed things that Bryony introduced into it. So to learn, it's the most difficult play ever to learn on many, many, many fronts. But whenever everyone's just flying on all cylinders and we've all got it right, and we're just all aware of each other, and it all just seems to happen, and it's very fluid, it's thrilling,
Oh, absolutely. That's so exciting.
Yeah, a lot of people have been very kind and really liked what we've done with that sort of choreography as well, and said how much it immerses them into the world of the play. So it's great. That's what good theatre is,
Yeah, absolutely. So Chris, tell us about your character.
I play Phil. He's a family man from Belfast who's moved to Sheffield in order to be with his wife, and he has a very, very young son. And he's just a very anxious sort of man. He's a very pragmatic man, and he's just constantly worrying about how he's going to keep his wife and his son safe in these tough times. So, yeah.
Now, James, you've been sitting back there just so quiet. So tell us about your character in the play.
Yes, I play Arthur, and he's sort of like the joker of the pack a little bit. He's the one who really feeds off being with his mates, and I think that's what keeps him going a lot of the time. He loves being at work. He loves the banter. He's one of those lads who's just always wanting to be at the centre of jokes and being, taking the piss out of people all the time. And so I think he's an interesting one because he hides behind that a lot. Right. And when you can scratch that away, you get, he's very guarded of how he really feels. Right. He sort of disguises it with a lot of jokes and banter.
Yeah, that's a great character.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he sits on a lot of darkness at times, I think. I think that's nice to explore.
Yeah,
it's good fun.
Now, and KIERAN, so what role did you take?
So I play Tommy, who
Okay.
is he's sort of a father figure in a way. He lives for the lads. Like, he's got nothing at home. He's got no one to say goodbye to or take care of. And so his entire life is at threat when these guys are at threat.
Wow.
And so he sits in the middle of the group, but also kind of wants to comfort them and be the strong person. But as they get into situations that are beyond his control, he kind of starts to lose that control of the situation. And so I think I just repeated the same sentence, but it's a writer. So I think he's basically just the figurehead of the group, but also that's it really. He's a gentle giant, really. I think.
So now let me get the progression of events correct. So you grew up in Manchester, and the three of you met up in London. Was it at acting school?
Yes.
And then you heard about this story in Sheffield.
Sal invited me for a pint, and I had wanted to write. So I'd done a bit of writing at university. So I went to university before drama school. I'm an eternal student. My mum and dad love me. But then when we left drama school, obviously we were kind of in this creative hole where you wanted to do stuff, but you didn't have the opportunity to, as so many artists are. And Sal just had enough of it one day and decided that he was going to text a few people and get them in a room and say, look, let's do a play, Kieran. You can write it. You've done it before, so let's just have a go. And then it was so often you do that, and then you just let the ball drop, and you never pick it up. And the one thing that I give testament to us for is we never allowed that to happen. Like, we were always pushing ourselves, and if we hadn't done the bits of homework that we'd been set, then somebody was on you on it, and it kind of made it more vital to do it. And so that process, it was a really collaborative process to create the work originally. But that's it. Yeah.
So the two of you were in right from the start, and then James, did you come in early on?
Yeah, I think they'd done 9 performances.
9, yeah.
And then I came in. So I came in for me and Kieran had done a play together. I mean, I knew the boys from drama school, but we were in different years, and I'd done a play with Kieran after graduating, and we'd done a show in Edinburgh and Colchester. And then one of the lads left, and Kieran got me in for an audition, and I got the part. Yeah.
So you've been in, the two of you have been in it since its inception, and then James, you've been in it since
2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've done over 100 shows.
I've done over 100 shows now.
You know it.
Yeah.
That's the benchmark. Maybe 100. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's Chris.
Yeah.
So when did you join the show?
I was like in my last week of drama school, and the fella that did it before me was a guy called Paul, and I stepped in for him for about 5 shows in the Finborough in 2015.
Yeah.
And then went away, and I was doing another play, and then I was doing like a 6-7 month run or something. And the last week of that run, I got a call from the producer going, Paul's got a job, do you want to come in and do it again? So I came in and did it again for a week, and then came and stepped in and took it over to New York, and here I am now. So
Wow, that's incredible. So can you, now I know you know the story, can one of you or the three of you kind of give your perception on the story, or tell as much as you can about what Operation Crucible is about?
Well, for me, it's about 4 Sheffield steel workers that they get trapped in a hotel in the centre of town called the Marples Hotel, and there was 10 cellars, like compartments, beneath the building, and one of them withstood the blast, and
the blast was
from Operation Crucible, the Germans really.
The Germans came in and bombed that as a strategic. That would have been a strategic target, being the steel. You don't think so?
The steelworks, but not the hotel. I think they intended to hit the steelworks, but got drawn into the city centre, which was even worse, really.
But Sheffield would have been a target.
Absolutely.
They were intending to destroy the steelworks, but they didn't even drop a bomb on it. They did drop a bomb on it, but it went through the roof, landed in a big furnace and didn't go off.
Oh my gosh, and it melted?
But
so then accidentally they bombed, well, not accidentally, but then they ended up bombing loads of civilian targets basically. But
oh my goodness.
it's I think Sal's right, but I think I think the play is at the root of it, it's just friendship. It's a
Yeah.
play about friendship
Uh-huh.
and like what we get from each other, and how and it's interesting. Like you know, I think the friendship amongst the boys in the play is beautiful. I love it, but actually, it's the friendship. The audience are the only ones that hear our real thoughts and feelings. I think we share a lot of how we really feel with them,
Absolutely.
and we don't really tell each other.
Uh-huh.
I think that's very sort of indicative of men and
Yeah.
indicative
Yes,
of
absolutely,
that period
absolutely.
in time as well. But
Oh, most definitely,
Yeah.
most definitely. So, Chris, how does this role, or playing this role, or being a part of this show, affect you?
It's quite. It's a bit of a tough one because obviously Phil's got a lot to lose, and he's a guy who's never really had much purpose in his life, or he's never really found anything to live for. And when he does, and when he has his son and his wife, and that is everything to him,
Right.
then he's thrust into these times in which it's just complete uncertainty and it's nerve-wracking. So. Yeah, it's tough in that respect, and I don't have kids. I had to go and speak to my friend who has kids and go, tell me in a sentence what it's like having a kid. But so it's, I suppose, it's a bit of an insight into all that. But like Jamie's saying, it's not a heavy play that you have to work yourself up into going and doing, because there's so much fun to be had on stage, and because we all get on and have a lot of fun together, it makes it easier just to get in and do those factory scenes. And I think if you can do that, and if you can hit the factory scenes with that level of enthusiasm and with joy, then the heavy stuff just sort of happens because of the contrast. And I think very much that because we've got those scenes of us all with such camaraderie, it just makes everything so much more gutting whenever the events of the play eventually transpire, do you know? So yeah, it's a mixture of joy and sadness, but mostly joy and tiredness.
Now, but you had also mentioned about how, like, American audiences, it might perceive it differently. So do you think that it is perceived as kind of like a heavy drama here?
I think, to be honest, there's two versions, and on different nights it's a different version. Like, and I think it's entirely about whether the audience give themselves permission to laugh at the funny bits or whether they don't. Which it happens in England as often as it happens over here. But I think the two routes that you take from that point are it's a journey about four men trapped in a situation in a war. Or it's for friends that you've kind of had a joshing about with all the way through, and so there's two entirely different tracks of the play, and we are like we've kind of done it often enough now that we can sort of gauge it in the first sort of few scenes, and then we know which version we're going to be doing. Yeah, but like it's equally fun, and I think you can be drawn in different ways with both versions. I think at the end of the play, whether you've had this incredible time where you've laughed at all of the funny moments, or whether you've had quite an affected time because you've obviously been hit by some of the sort of meatier bits, I still think that you kind of come away with something that you didn't have before, which is kind of quite a nice way to go to the theatre.
Absolutely.
I think.
I'm here talking to the cast of Operation Crucible. It was written by KIERAN and Knowles right here, directed by Brian E. Shanahan, and produced by Steve McGill. It's at the Davenport Theater on 45th Street in Midtown Manhattan between 8th and 9th Avenue. So be sure to get your tickets and come out. It's I'm very excited. I'm going to be seeing it for the first time tonight. So I'm very excited about actually getting to experience this show, because it just sounds so wonderful. So again, if you want to go around, I don't know if any of you have anything you want to say or add. That's fine, and we'll start with the shy one. Sal, I need help with your... Yeah, you've been doing great.
He's come out with shy. You're the only one who's ever done this.
I feel like I'm in a spa.
Yeah,
In a spa.
You've woken him up.
So, Sal, I need help with your last name again.
I can't even say it. My dad knows how to say it. I think it's D'Aquila.
D'Aquila.
It's D'Aquila.
Oh, almost like Dracula.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, almost like Dracula. Dracula.
Exactly.
Dracula.
Salvatore Dracula.
That is your new nickname.
Yes.
So, again, what do you want to tell an audience about this show? That like, what does it mean to you?
I think it's different every night. Like, so like, I don't go on stage and just think, oh right, I'm gonna do it like this tonight. Like it's just kind of like you kind of like feeding off them.
Right.
So it really depends on
Yeah.
on the audience. I think.
I think for an audience member coming to see this, you're getting the performers are trying to connect with you and to tell you this story and to make you part of it on that evening. And every show, like because of the level of play that we have in it and the level of just quick thinking that you have to do it and how much stuff's going on, there's always little things that are different every night that like an audience will just be part of. Do you know? And those wee moments where an audience can go, that was just for us tonight. That wasn't something that was rehearsed and planned.
Yeah.
So we look to really bring them along and really bring them in and tell them our story and make them part of us and make them honorary sort of citizens of Sheffield for the hour and 20 minutes. So it's
And that would also be exciting too, because it's almost like every show is different, or every show. It's not like you don't right.
Yeah, absolutely, like Jimmy says.
Okay, so Chris McCURRY.
Yeah.
Okay, because my iPad shut off and I couldn't get back to the names.
You covered it perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, and James Wallwork.
Yeah.
I'm getting good at your last name there.
You're the best ever, honestly. People in England don't get it. It's the most English name in the world. But, yeah.
So, what would you like to say about or to tell about the show and why people should come see it?
Yeah, I think it's just to expand on that. I think it's just like you're getting a unique experience. I don't think there's a play like this.
Right.
I've never read a play like this. The way it's written, he's all right, you know. But the way it's written, it's just like it's so quick. It's a bat. I think if we get it right, then which we do. then I think you know an audience is seeing like a really skilled, well-oiled machine, which is just like on its toes. You don't have any time to think, and if you're into something like that, that's going to really like wow you a bit of like how 4 actors can really work as one ensemble. Then I think this is the show for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And KIERAN Knowles, the writer of the show, what would you like to say about Operation Crucible?
I think it's surreal that we're sat in a room in New York talking about a little play about Sheffield, and especially like with the beginnings of it. And so I think for me, if it's like you couldn't get a more honest production. I don't think everybody in this has been invested fully from the start. Like there's no half measures, and every night we go out on stage and we give you the full experience every night, and
give the ball a kick.
we give the ball a kick. Whether there's 9 in the audience or 50 or 60, like you'll get our sweat and our sort of tears, and like we'll really give it you. And I think like the play essentially started with an idea that I wanted to put 4 versions of my granddad on stage, who was the sort of man that didn't say much, but eventually, like if you asked him 5 times, he'd give you a little bit of information, and eventually you'd have the whole picture. And so we are 4 versions of the same story, but we can't tell it without one of us. So you take one of us out there, the story won't work. And so we're totally interdependent. And I think as an ensemble piece, it's been the highlight of my career, and it's been that I think everybody would say the same. I think it's the hardest show I've ever done. It's the most fulfilling show I've ever done. And it's also just the best experience when you're on stage with 3 people that you're totally dependent on. I don't think I'll ever have that again. I hope I do. Yeah. But if I don't, I've had it once, which is good. So yeah.
All right. Well, again, the show is called Operation Crucible, and it's written by KIERAN Knowles, and directed by Brian E. Shanahan and produced by Steve McGill, and it's playing at the Davenport Theater on West 45th Street here in New York City. So my thanks to this wonderful, wonderful cast for taking some time. We've got Sal Dacula and James Wallwork and KIERAN Knowles and Chris McCURRY.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. This was absolutely wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. It's been great fun.